Hello, my beautiful creative souls, and welcome back to the channel. I actually think I'm going to welcome myself back in this moment because sitting down to have this kind of heart-to-heart podcast style topic with you about kind of my journaling journey thus far and like where I'm at exactly like right now and how I'm envisioning that kind of moving forward. That's like my focus for this conversation. I have no idea what I'm going to title this yet. I'm just going to kind of go in with my intuition and trust that whatever I say is what I'm supposed to say and is going to be helpful to our evolution together as a journaling community. So, sip of coffee, grab yourself a beverage, fold your laundry, throw me on while you drive to work. Do whatever you'd like to do, but I won't be like showing you any journals in this video, I don't think. So if you want to sit back, listen, relax, soak in the information while you're doing something else, please feel free to do that. So I think I'm going to start with where I'm at in this moment right now with my journaling journey, and then kind of rewind a little bit and talk about what it's been in the past, how it's evolving, and how we got here, and then where we're going after that. So right now in my life as a whole, really, and I have been for the past couple of years, I am going through this internal, like, insane, amazing, disorienting, yet aligning and confusing rebirth and death cycle. Basically, what that boils down to is there's a lot of internal and external changes happening in my life within house and career and the way that I contribute to the world, the habits that I have, the things that I'm putting in my body. Like, literally everything is just like, the only thing that's not changing is my relationship with my husband. Thank you to Chris, because that's like the only thing that's remaining constant throughout this whole thing. And that's been amazing. My allergies are really bad, so if you see my eyes watering, I'm not crying. I just, like, it's goldenrod season and there's nothing I can do about it. Allergies. So, we don't let things like that stop us. So anyway, thank you. Huge shout out to my husband and my dog Shadow, because they're a constant in my life at the moment. Literally everything else, though, is changing, and within that, none of it's bad. It's all for the good. But when we work on and changing our internal self, our environment also changes. And I have done so much inner healing work with myself, my journal, my purpose on this planet, what I want my life to look like moving forward, all of those things, that it's now all starting to come out in the external, which is like a thank goodness finally moment, and also like a holy shit, I don't know how to operate at the moment. So I want to talk about where journaling fits into that and what my journaling looks like lately because of that, right? This all kind of started because of this channel, and I want to get into that in a second, but back to the present moment. Let's keep focused, Leanne. Focus. Right now, my two main journals are, and this, I wasn't going to show you anything, but I'm just holding it up, so don't worry if you're just listening. You aren't missing anything but a cover. My personal journal. This is where I write all of my heart-to-hearts. I commune with the divine. I record my divination pulls. I work out overwhelm and ideas and dreams and goals and problems and just express to myself where I'm at with raw authenticity. And this has become my main form of journaling, which is one of the reasons why I'm having a crisis, or was having a crisis with this channel, because in the past, and obviously this channel is built on this, right? What it was all about creative journaling in the visual sense, putting together photos, memory keeping, exploring what my likes and dislikes and parts of my world that were exciting me, and all of those things, and self-expression with paint and cut out words, and just using my hands to express in that way. And it's not that that stuff isn't still helpful, but I came to a point where, and I stopped making videos because it's not what I'm doing right now, because it's not what's helping me on my journey at this moment. Do I still enjoy doing it on the rare occasion that I do it? Absolutely. Will I probably return to that type of journaling? I'm gonna probably say yeah, right? But my main form of journaling is not fun to look at. I can't share this with you because it's so personal and so raw and so just words. Like, it's just words. I could absolutely share with you some journaling prompts or techniques to get you into this kind of realm of journaling, either as your new way of journaling, as something you want to try out, as something you want to incorporate into your creative journaling. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please leave me a comment and let me know. I don't know unless you tell me. So there's that. But this is my main form of journaling. I do this, I'd like to say every day, but it's more like 2 to 5 times a week, depending on where I'm at. But I definitely get into here at least a couple times a week. Sometimes I write 3 or 4 lines. Sometimes I write pages upon pages. And mostly it's just stream of consciousness. It's my gateway into myself to being like, okay, you keep a front. Not that how I show up in my life is fake, but obviously I'm not going to open up the deepest recesses of myself to everyone in all moments of my life, right? There is some sort of facade, some sort of way that I present myself in my daily life in each scenario, right? With different people, you present different parts of yourself. But with myself, in my journal, what's going on if I strip all of that away? If I'm like, okay, nothing is here but Leanne, I don't have to think about the appropriate me to express in this situation to be most helpful. I'm focused on, this is me, raw, authentic, what I'm feeling in this exact moment, and having a conversation with myself about that. To just get to know myself on a deeper level. And really that's what journaling to me has always been about. It's about self-expression. It's about exploring the self, getting to know the self, healing the self. It's the one place in the world that you can be so self-centered, and it's actually important to be so self-centered so that you know where your center of self is. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. So that's what my journaling looks like right now. I also have a planner, because I need to keep my shit together. I need a planner. And I know some of you watch with your kids, so I apologize. I've gotten used to swearing on my spiritual podcast, so I apologize if anything slips out. But this is the planner that I'm using at the moment. And again, I'm just going to show you the cover, but this is actually my Creatively Free to Be Me planner, which I recently moved back into. I have some ideas on where I might want to tweak and re-release this. I was working on another planner, which is still in the works, but it has turned out that I am required to write a book with it. Not required, like someone else is telling me that I need to, but like in order for me to feel like it is a complete project that I can present to you, I am writing a book to go with my planner. So for those of you who are on the edge of your seat waiting for that other planner, I'm so sorry that it's been so many years in the making and I keep being like, I'm going to release it. I'm going to release it. Now I understand why there was all that disconnect, why I've yet to release it. I have no idea when I almost swore. I almost swore again. I have no idea when I'm going to officially complete this book that goes with this planner that's going to be released as this whole collection, but it is going to be released as that. And shout out to my girl Anna for helping me work through that the other day. That was like amazing, heart to heart. Thank you so much. Online friends are just amazing. Anyway, planner. Through working in this other planner, which I've been using for a year now, actually, I was using inserts season at a time, sometimes 1 month at a time, going through my seasonal planning process, which coupled with spirituality is manifestation. That's what the book's going to be about. I was finding that because I had flushed all of that out and I was using the system and I knew that it worked, the way that I work is I like to constantly just like rework things and explore new things and keep moving forward, like leveling up and up and up in my own way. Not because where I was bad, but because I need to keep growing and evolving. It is just what drives me, what makes me happy, what fulfills me. So as I was having a planner crisis, and I actually wrote an email about this the other day. If you were on my email list before, the Creative Insider email list, you would have gotten that. If you're not on that, I will put the link down below. I have revived that email list. It's solely for this creative journaling channel. My spiritual stuff is separate. There's a separate email list for that. If you want to join me in all of that, you enjoy manifestation and mindset and tarot and oracle cards and magical witchy things and all of that, I will leave those links below. But if you want to just get my journaling emails, I revived my journaling email list. But I sent out an email last week or maybe a couple weeks ago now about how I was having a planner crisis. And I have a planner crisis every year, multiple times a year. Sometimes more often than not, but I find that around this last quarter of the year, the fall season, and fall is really all about the final harvest and the kind of death cycle, right? If you think about ancient times, this was the time of year when you would harvest your last crops. You had a big feast because there was a bunch of food that was going to go bad, right? You didn't have refrigerators. You didn't have convenience stores or grocery stores. You had what you could get from the land during that time. And if you live in a climate like I do where it snows in the winter, once you have that final harvest, you ain't growing any more food. Not like fruits and vegetables anyway, or grains even for that matter. So you would have a big harvest feast right before the winter. Like, this is all the stuff that's going to go bad. Let's all get together while we still can before we have to hunker down for the winter. Celebrate the beautiful bounty that we have and probably pack on a few pounds so that you can make it through the long winter, the long rest period where it's really about like going into the dark and just trying to friggin' survive and wait for spring. So as you move through this fall period, there's this shedding of the old, right? We think about the falling of the leaves, and we also think about death a little bit, right? When we think about the holiday of Halloween, or Samhain if you're pagan, or Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, if you celebrate that tradition, right? They're all centered around endings, but honoring the ending, honoring this dark part of the year, honoring the death of our loved ones, of our ancestors, and recognizing that there's so much more to be had, and that by stripping away things, we are able to better communicate and prepare ourselves for where we're going next. Keeping that in mind, right? As I think about that, it only makes sense that during this time, I usually have a planner crisis. And the other time that I usually have a planner crisis is right before spring hits. And I think it's that same kind of energy of like, there's a lot happening, right? I just went through a whole spiel about what happens in fall, but basically, right, you have gratitude, you have bountiful harvests, you have gatherings, you have endings, you have honoring the death of things, letting go of things, preparing for the winter, preparing for the next evolution. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces and changes within that. And then the same with the spring, right? You have the spring thaw, you have that kind of dry period where you're still waiting for new life to go, and you're like, I think I know where I'm going. I'm ready. Like, we're getting ready for planting things for spring, but like, we still don't have new stuff yet. It's not warm. There's still snow on the ground. We're still waiting for the rebirth, but we're prepared. So it's like this weird transition. And as I experience that internally and externally, there's a lot of searching. There's a lot of understanding what I'm using, how it's serving me, and exploring what is going to come next. So I often change planners, mostly planners. Like, when I have a journal, say like my personal journal, I've actually almost finished this to the end, you guys. This has been an amazing journal, and maybe I'll talk about that at the end here, or maybe I'll do a proper journal updates video with all the extra time that I have. Sure, Leanne. But I think this happens mostly with my planner, this jumping around, because the planner is what contains what's going on right now, but also what we're planning for in the future. And as I'm shifting and changing everything with the season, internally, letting go of things, bringing in new things, there's a sense of like, what's gonna fit in that? So instead of fighting this anymore and pretending like it's not going to happen, and pretending like, you know, I'm going to be my fantasy ideal self who only uses a set number of planners or one planner and like sticks to it and it just works. We're just letting go. We're letting go of that idea, because trying to make myself something that I am not in this moment doesn't help anybody. It just doesn't. And while me jumping around planners can sometimes be annoying to myself, especially during this time, because if I want to look back on things, I'm like, I don't even know where to look for that. It's part of my process, and it's a necessary process that I need to go through. And embracing my natural cycles can only help me. The end. So, all of that to say, my planner crisis has been solved by no longer calling it a crisis. We are having a season of exploration all day, every day. I mean, that's literally how I live my life, so I don't know why that was such a revelation for me, but this season, the fall 2023, I'm using, as of this moment, the Creatively Free to Be Me planner. And the reason I created this planner is for this exact reason. For those of you that don't know, this is a planner that I created in 2021. You can get it on Amazon. It's print on demand. You should be able to get it from your own native Amazon as long as they offer that, you know, Amazon KDP printing. You can get one shipped to you from your own country. I'll leave a link below if you want to check it out, but all you have to do is change, you know, search for it on your Amazon. So like Amazon Australia if you're in Australia, Amazon Canada if you're in Canada, etc., etc. And you can purchase directly from there and avoid the insane shipping fees that exist. But this is a 4-month planner. And it's 4 months because I wanted to make a seasonal planner, because that's just the amount of time that I can stay in one planner usually, for 3 to 4 months. But it's 4 months, even though we have 4 seasons, technically. Some of us, depends on what climate you live within. But where I live, we have 4 distinct seasons. Winter is the longest. So it makes sense to have a 3-month planner, right? But it's 4 months because I like to change planners when I realize it's no longer working for me. And sometimes that's in the middle of the month. Sometimes it's a week after the month starts. Sometimes it's a week before the month before ends. And I don't want to wait. So the extra month is there so you can start early and then still have 3 months after. Within this planner is also the option to do whatever the hell you want in it. So inside there are monthly calendars. There is a very unique weekly spread on 4 pages to give you plenty of room to do whatever you want. And then the rest of it is virtually blank. I have some planning ahead spreads. I have some trackers in there. I have some lists pages that you could use for literally anything, you know, line a day, gratitude, etc., etc. And a bunch of blank pages. And the reason I did that is because you can use it for wherever you're at. And that's what I need, right? From a planner, really. Unless I'm focused on working on a specific way of planning, like I have been for the past year, creating this planner, this manifestation other planner that is yet to be released, the one that I'm writing the book with. Unless I'm working specifically on something like that, I want the space to explore whatever I want to explore, whether that be journal writing, whether that be spiritual practices, whether that be art, whether that be project planning, whether that be visioning and dreaming, daily planning, 1 per page, like whatever I want to do, I want to be able to do it in my planner. But I also don't want to have to draw out monthly calendars and weekly spreads like you have to do if you get a bullet journal, right? So the Creatively Free to Be Me planner was my solution to the bullet journal. It's a seasonal bullet journal style planner because of the fact that you have mostly blank pages to do whatever you need to do, but you don't have to draw out your own stuff. And I had abandoned this for a long time because, again, like I said, I've been working on this other planner. But now that I want all this breathing room to explore again, this feels like coming home. And, yeah, I'm really excited to be using it again and seeing what the next iteration of this is going to look like. So that's where I'm at right now. And the only memory keeping that I'm really doing is within the planner. And there isn't a lot of times where I feel the need to do that. And sometimes I get a little sad because I look at my old journals and I look at all the photos and I'm like, it's so fun to reminisce on that. But it's also really deeply helpful to actually look back at these journals that I've done in the past couple of years, my personal spiritual journals, and see the evolution of my dreams and what I was working on and all those things. So because that's where I'm at right now, like I shared, I haven't really been sharing videos because I'm not doing any creative journaling to share with you. About once a month, I feel the urge to print out a bunch of my photos and stick them in my planner. And they don't all make it in. Like, it's not an all-encompassing 1 month summary that I do in one go. It's just, these are the things that I feel like sharing within my experience right now. And I put them in. And then I don't put any pressure on myself to do anything for the rest of the month. And since I've been doing that, I find it's really just very cyclical, kind of like once or twice a month. I'll do some kind of creative journaling, but I don't film it because I don't want to have that pressure. I want to kind of rewind a little bit and share with you kind of the evolution of my creative journaling in kind of like a bass-backwards way, just to further share where I'm at right now. So I stopped making creative journaling videos because I had gotten to a point where I was only doing it for work. And I'd actually been doing that for a couple of years. I had gotten to a point where I wanted to creative journal, but I wouldn't do it in the moment because I thought if I'm going to do it, I need to film it because I need to have this content to give to you, to give to my patrons, right? Because people were paying me for my creative content, which still blows my mind to this day. But I needed to keep up with that. And I felt that if I did my journaling off camera, that when it was time to do it on camera, I wouldn't have anything to share. So I created this weird rule for myself, right? And after doing that for a couple of years, I actually got to the point where I was burnt out and I wasn't having fun anymore. And I didn't want to create videos from that space because I believe that energy translates, right? When you watch a video of me journaling just for the sake of showing you something, it doesn't have that same inspiration alive within it. And that was why I wanted to share in the first place, was to create a sense of community, to show you what was possible, to inspire you to do something for yourself, even if that was just the creative inspiration of watching the video. I wanted whatever I was putting into the world to enrich it and to uplift you and to inspire you and to make the world a better place. And sharing creative journaling videos from a place of obligation is not that vibe. And I had also gotten to a point where I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. What was desiring to come into form within myself, right? Because I'm all about evolution and transformation and authenticity and being creatively free to be yourself, right? That was my channel name for the longest time, Creatively Free to Be Me, because that was and still is my mission, to create myself, to create my life, to be creative, to create things to share, to create an environment that's inspirational, to create positive momentum and change and uplift. And while I had been exploring that within creative journaling for a long time, that was no longer authentic to the level that I wanted to spread this impact. And after a year of ignoring that, I played a little bit with it on Patreon. And if you join the Creative Content Vault, which is an offer I'll talk about at the end of this, you'll see that kind of in that last year where I started to branch out a little bit more into doing some kind of spiritual content. But I put myself in such a box that it was literally crushing my soul. Like, and I had to change. I had to stop. I had to reevaluate. I had to just step away so that I could reorient myself and figure out what the heck I was even doing, right? And it was funny, as I was talking to Anna the other day, which I had mentioned in this video. Shout out to Anna again. She had said something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically it was inspirational to her, for her to see me walk away from something that was seemingly going so well on the outside into something that was new and unknown and more authentic to my evolution as a person and what I want to bring to this planet. And she talked about kind of having the balls to do that. And, I made a joke, I've always had balls. That's just kind of, maybe it's my Scorpio nature. I don't know. This is part of who I am. But it wasn't a decision to walk away from what was working in pursuit of something else. It was a decision of survival at that point. It was, if I don't do this, there was no other option. Like, there was no, if I don't, like, I'd ridden that, indecision. I had ridden the wave of fighting what I was doing. I had gotten myself into this position where there was no other option. I could not continue, period. Like, I had continued far past the stopping point. And that's kind of one of my things, like, learning to, when it's time to let things die. So for the past year, I've been in like this, or a little over a year now, actually, in this crisis of like, who am I without creative journaling? Who am I without this channel? And I've tried lots of different iterations, which you've seen, right? I tried to just say, well, I'm going to infuse what I'm doing now with the journaling, which I felt didn't really work because I still wanted to be able to serve a wider audience with the power of journaling without kind of off-putting them with the spiritual side if that was not your jam. And it's funny too, because once I stopped creating creative content, once I let it go last summer and was like, I'm going to do something different, my channel like reached 5,000 subscriber milestone, and like a bunch of new people were finding some of my videos that I created a couple of years ago. And I don't know, it was just like this weird, like, now that I'm done, people notice. But anyway, adding in that spiritual content was confusing the hell out of people who were like, I just found this cool journaling channel and now it's not that anymore. So I separated it out after that. And then I went through this period of, am I going to keep doing it on the side? Am I not going to keep doing it on the side? And I had to come to a decision where I was like, I'm going to wipe it out. I'm going to let everything go. I'm going to just not do it. And I never fully embraced that until a couple of months ago, I would say. And I was like, I'm done. We're closing the store. I'm going to de-stash a bunch of my stuff, and we're just gonna close this chapter for now. And I kept getting signs like death card, death card, death card, like to just let it die. And I needed to let all of that go in order to come back home to the original purpose of what the channel is, which is sharing my journey with journaling and planning to inspire and uplift you and give you tools to do that yourself. So I'm not going to make any promises about where we're going from here, because I know myself, and as soon as I say I have all these ideas, I'm going to do them, then you hear crickets for months and nothing ever happens. So I'm going to put it out there that I, at this moment, feel like in the future at some point, I would like to share more journaling techniques with you that you can use regardless of your spiritual beliefs, right? So still focused on just journaling and planning, but inevitably some of that stuff creeps in because that's just part of who I am. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm not, because that's not authentic to me, and you shouldn't be doing that either. But I want to keep it focused on journaling techniques that I use now. And it's not going to be for the foreseeable future of the moment. Again, never say never. These are not promises. This is not this is what's coming. This is just what's in my brain right now. It probably won't be anything like before, but I will still be me. And that's the important part, right? So if you would like to see more discussions on journaling techniques for personal development, maybe some prompts, maybe some write with me kind of style videos, anything along that lines, if that interests you at all, leave a comment below to let me know, please, because I literally don't know unless you tell me. If you are desiring more creative content, you're like, Leanne, I'm still at that creative point in my journey. I still would love some more inspiration. I still am at that point where words aren't what I need to express. I need to express my creativity. I need to explore in that. And I've exhausted your video library and I need something else. For a limited time, don't know how long, assuming until December, but I will have to close it eventually. I have opened up the doors to my creative content vault. And that sounds very, and it kind of is. Once you get inside, you're like, holy moly. But basically what this is it's 5 years worth of creative content that I previously only had on Patreon. So this is the Creative Content Vault is a library of over 280 videos spanning over 5 years of journal with me's, of real-time journal with me's, of journal with me live streaming plays, of journal updates with me literally like walking you through everything that I'm using every month and like the evolution of that. There are creative challenge posts in there. There are probably a couple of haul videos. Like there's so much in there. And regardless of where I'm at right now, all of that inspiration, all the creative journaling that I've done in the past, it's still relevant, right? Of course, as you watch, there's going to be things where I'm like, oh, you know, this other thing is happening on Patreon. Or you may even see past relationships that I'm in, or past things that I'm working through, or places I've lived before. Or you're going to see life before I got my dog Shadow, and before I was with my husband. And there's all kinds of things that were different in my life, right? But the journaling, the core content of it, and my evolution through that is still the same. It's still useful, it's still relevant, it's still insightful and inspiring. So that is open for enrollment. I'm going to say until the end of the year, but I may have to close it sooner, so I'll leave the link down below if you would like to take advantage of that and join in on that. The only reason I have to close it is because the place that I hosted on, Teachable, they have a class cap, and while the content will still be accessible for you, there will be a time where I can't enter in any new students because I have other classes that I'm teaching that students need to be going into. So it's not like I don't want you to be able to get into it after. It's just literally like a back-end necessity thing. So I'll leave that link for you. If you want to really ramp up your creative journaling practice in 2024, you have literally almost a video you can watch pretty much every single day. So, okay, maybe not that many. You're missing a few, but it's pretty darn close to 300. So, you know, just saying. There's that. So again, I'll leave that link below. Creative Content Vault, open for a limited time, over 280 videos over the span of 5 years, a creative bombshell of inspiration for you to take advantage of if you would like to do that. And there's multiple kind of access options, so you can pick the one that's best suits you. I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Leave me a little emoji in the comments if you made it this far. I know many of you are kind of the real reals, as I like to say, and you stay until the end every time, and I'm so grateful for you. I hope that this video was inspiring to you in some way, let you know that your journaling journey is going to evolve, and wherever you're at the moment is exactly where you need to be, and fighting the evolution of who you are as a person and the tools that you use along with that is more hindrance than help. And I hope that you are always inspired to be creatively free, to be exactly who you are in each and every moment, and to be empowered to explore that within the pages of your journal, because that is what they are for. Okay, I think I'm complete. Again, thank you so much. I can't wait to connect with you in the comments. I will leave linked the planner that I mentioned, the Creative Content Vault, and any of my new social media links if you would like to join me there. Again, I don't know exactly what the future of this channel is going to look like, but I know that every once in a while I'd love to pop on here and share something with you. Speaking of, oh, I'm like, there's something else I need to say and I forgot. The Etsy shop. While I am going through all these changes, part of that change is I'm moving yet again. I'm staying on the family farm. For those of you that don't know, I live in a camper. You might have kind of got that from, this is the ceiling. But anyway, I've lived in a camper with my husband for the past almost 4 years now. And we have to move. And a lot of my creative stuff has been in a storage container. Where we're moving to is my in-laws' garage. They're making an apartment in there for us to live in. But in order for us to do that, and especially before the winter, they need our storage container. which means I need to pare down on my supplies. So what I'm doing is I am going through all of my creative supplies. I'm keeping my favorites, the ones that I use literally all the time, reach for all the time. And anything else that I either don't reach for all the time or haven't reached for in a long time or is just like excess, I am putting together in de-stash bundles to give away. I already have, I think, about 20 up there now. The ones that are up there now have journal covers in different sizes. There's blank planners. There's stickers and papers and like all kinds of things. I do have some art supplies coming. Lots of mixed media sprays, some Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink pads. Yeah, so I'll leave that linked below. Keep your eye out on that. There's so much up there to purchase if you have not already. Any de-stash that I had done before this cycle is now 50% off. Basically, you're just paying for shipping and my Etsy fees and you're getting it for free, basically. So if you'd like to refresh your supplies, if you want to, if you want to try a new journal, if you want to try a new size before the end of the year, this is a great way to do that. And just reignite your love for that. And if you do purchase a de-stash bundle and you would also like the Creative Content Vault, purchase the de-stash bundle, send me an email, and I will send you a coupon code to take that, your total off of the Creative Content Vault price. So kind of a little 2-for-1 deal there. So just to clarify, say you purchase a de-stash bundle, it's $30. Send me an email or a message on Etsy saying, I purchased this. I would like to purchase their Creative Content Vault as well. And I will email you a coupon code for $30 because that was the total in the example. And you can take that off of the Creative Content Vault price. Does that make sense? And I will run that until, let's say, the end of October. So that's it. So many links to explore down below. So much in this video. I've now been talking for almost an hour. Thank you so much. I will leave you here. Have a beautiful day. And I can't wait to connect with you in the comments. Take care, guys.